The way you think determines the life you live. It's that simple. And yet most people never stop to question the automatic thoughts that shape their reality. Your mind has been programmed by your upbringing, by society, by experiences, both good and bad. And if you're not careful, you'll spend your entire life running on an outdated operating system, one filled with limitations, fear, and self-doubt. But the good news is this: your mind is not fixed. It can be rewired, reprogrammed, and reshaped into something extraordinary. Now think about this. Every action you take is driven by an underlying belief. If you believe deep down that you're not smart enough, not capable enough, not worthy of success, then you will unconsciously sabotage yourself. You'll procrastinate, you'll make excuses, you'll stay in your comfort zone. Because the subconscious mind is programmed to keep you safe, not to push you toward greatness. But what if you could change that? What if you could install a new set of beliefs, ones that empower you instead of limiting you? It begins with awareness. Pay attention to your internal dialogue. How do you speak to yourself when you fail? Do you call yourself a loser? Do you reinforce the idea that you're not good enough? Catch those thoughts, because they are the very chains keeping you from reaching your full potential. The brain is like a garden. If you allow weeds to grow unchecked, negative thoughts, self-doubt, fear, they will take over. But if you deliberately plant the seeds of strength, confidence, and relentless drive, your mind will start working for you instead of against you. You need to replace those old self-defeating narratives with something powerful. And that's where affirmations, visualization, and self-talk come into play. Some people scoff at the idea of affirmations, but let me tell you something. Your brain is already repeating affirmations every single day. The question is, are they positive or negative? Every time you say, I can't do this, you're reinforcing failure. But if you start telling yourself, I am capable, I am disciplined, I am unstoppable, you begin to shift the way your mind perceives you. And when your mind changes, your actions follow. Visualization is another tool that elite performers use to reprogram their brains. Athletes, entrepreneurs, visionaries, they see success before it happens. When you visualize yourself achieving your goal, your brain can't distinguish between imagination and reality. It starts building neural pathways as if you've already succeeded. And the more vividly you do this, the more you feel it, the more you immerse yourself in it, the more your subconscious mind aligns your actions with that vision. But here's the thing. None of this works without action. You don't just sit around repeating positive phrases and expect the world to hand you everything. No, you take those new beliefs and you reinforce them through relentless action. Every time you push beyond resistance, every time you show up when it's uncomfortable, you're proving to your subconscious mind that you are exactly the person you claim to be, and the more you prove it, the stronger that belief becomes. This is how you reprogram your mind. You expose the old destructive patterns, you replace them with empowering beliefs, you reinforce those beliefs through action, through discipline, through showing up every single day with an unshakable commitment to becoming the person you were meant to be. And when you do that, there are no limits to what you can. Your ability to focus is one of the most powerful assets you have, but in today's world, it's under attack. Everywhere you look, there's something designed to steal your attention. Notifications, endless scrolling, quick dopamine hits that leave you empty and distracted. And here's the real danger. The more you allow yourself to be pulled in 100 different directions, the harder it becomes to take control of your own mind. Without focus, without clarity, you're just drifting, reacting instead of creating, consumed by noise instead of building something meaningful. So ask yourself, when was the last time you truly sat with a problem, uninterrupted, and thought deeply about it? When was the last time you allowed your mind the space to work through an idea, to wrestle with it, refine it, push it to its limits? Most people don't do this anymore. They jump from one task to the next, their attention shattered into a million pieces, and then they wonder why they can't break through, why they feel overwhelmed, why they struggle to bring their ideas to life. The truth is, if you don't train your focus, you are leaving extraordinary potential on the table. Focus is not something you're born with. It's something you cultivate. And like any skill, it takes deliberate effort. The first step is eliminating distractions. Your environment shapes your behavior more than you realize. If your phone is constantly lighting up, if you're trying to work in a space filled with interruptions, if your mind is cluttered with 1,000 unimportant tasks, then of course you'll struggle to concentrate. You have to take control, set boundaries, create a space that allows deep work. Give your mind the respect it deserves by designing an environment where it can function at its best. And then you have to train it. If you've spent years letting your focus scatter, don't expect to suddenly be able to sit down and concentrate for hours. Start small. Give yourself blocks of uninterrupted time, 30 minutes, an hour, where you commit fully to a task. No checking your phone, no jumping between tabs, no easy escapes. You push through the discomfort. You teach your brain to stay locked in, to work through challenges instead of seeking instant relief. Over time, that ability grows, and before you know it, you're thinking at a level most people can't even touch. But focus alone isn't enough. You need clarity. Because if you don't know what truly matters, you'll waste your focus on things that don't move the needle. So many people are busy, but they're not effective. They fill their days with low-value tasks, mistaking movement for progress. You have to step back and ask yourself, what is the most important thing I could be working on right now? What, if executed well, would create the greatest impact? Get clear on that and then pour your focus into it with everything you have. And this isn't just about productivity. This is about training your mind to think at a higher level. When you cultivate focus and clarity, you develop the ability to see what others miss. You begin to recognize patterns, to understand complexity, to generate insights that are rare and valuable. Your thinking sharpens. Your problem solving deepens. You move through the world differently, less reactive, more intentional, with a mind that cuts through distractions like a blade. This is the path to mastery, not just in your career, not just in your goals, but in the way you navigate life itself. Because when your mind is clear and focused, you have power. Power over your decisions, power over your emotions, power over the direction of your own destiny. And when you have that, nothing can stop you. Your brain is not fixed. It's not some rigid, predetermined structure that you're stuck with for life. It's alive, adaptable, constantly changing based on what you expose it to. This is neuroplasticity, the ability of your brain to rewire itself, to form new connections, to literally reshape its own structure in response to what you do, what you think, what you experience. And once you understand this, once you truly grasp that your intelligence, your abilities, your potential are not set in stone, you realize something profound. You can become so much more than you are right now. But most people never take advantage of this. They go through life running the same mental patterns, repeating the same habits, thinking the same thoughts, as if who they are today is the best they'll ever be. That's nonsense. The brain is designed to grow, to evolve, to expand its capabilities, but only if you push it, if you stay in your comfort zone, if you never challenge yourself, if you never expose yourself to new ideas, your brain will atrophy. It will shrink into itself. It will become stagnant. And so will you. Think about it like a muscle. If you lift heavy weights, your body adapts. It gets stronger, more capable, more resilient. But if you sit around doing nothing, your muscles weaken. They deteriorate. Your brain works the same way. The more you challenge it, the more you force it to engage in complex thinking, deep learning, and problem solving, the stronger it becomes. And the incredible thing is that this process doesn't stop. It doesn't matter how old you are, how much you've struggled in the past, how many times you've failed. Your brain is still capable of change. You can still develop new skills, new ways of thinking, new levels of intelligence that you never thought possible. But here's the catch. Neuroplasticity works both ways. If you feed your mind garbage, mindless entertainment, endless distractions, negative thought patterns, it will adapt to that as well. It will become wired for laziness, for instant gratification, for avoidance of challenge. And that's why so many people feel stuck. They've trained their brains to be weak without even realizing it. They've conditioned themselves to seek comfort instead of growth. And then they wonder why they're not making progress. You have to take control. You have to deliberately shape the way your brain evolves. And the way you do that is by feeding it the right inputs. Read books that challenge you. engage in conversations that force you to think, learn new skills that push you beyond what's familiar, and most importantly, do things that are hard. If something feels difficult, that's not a reason to avoid it. That's a sign that your brain is growing. That's the exact moment you need to lean in, to push through, to force yourself to adapt. Because every time you do, you're rewiring your mind for strength, for resilience, for intelligence. And the more you do this, the more unstoppable you become. You start to realize that intelligence is not something you either have or don't have. It's something you build. Creativity is not some mystical gift. It's a skill that gets sharper the more you use it. Success is not about talent. It's about how much you're willing to push yourself beyond your current limits. This is how the greatest thinkers, the greatest innovators, the greatest minds in history have operated. They didn't just accept the brain they were born with. They trained it, they expanded it, they rewired it for greatness. And you can do the same. You are not limited by your past. You are not trapped by who you were yesterday. Every moment, every decision, every challenge you take on is an opportunity to reshape your brain, to expand your potential, to become something greater than you ever imagined. And once you take control of that process, there is no limit to what you can achieve. Most people wait to feel motivated before they take action. They sit around hoping for that spark of inspiration, that rush of energy, that perfect moment when everything just clicks. But here's the problem. Motivation is fleeting, it's unreliable, it comes and goes like the wind, and if you base your life on it, you'll spend most of your time waiting instead of doing. What separates those who achieve great things from those who don't is not motivation, it's discipline. Discipline is the ability to act regardless of how you feel. It's showing up when it's inconvenient, when it's uncomfortable, when every fiber of your being wants to quit. It's making a commitment to yourself and keeping it, not just when things are easy, but especially when they're not. Now, don't misunderstand this. Motivation is real, it plays a role, but it's not the foundation of success. If you want to understand how motivation truly works, you have to look at it differently. It's not something that magically appears before action, it's something that follows action. The very act of starting, of taking that first small step, triggers a shift in your brain. It activates dopamine, the neurotransmitter responsible for drive and reward. This is why people who force themselves to take action, even when they don't feel like it, suddenly find momentum. They get into a rhythm, they build energy, and before they know it, motivation kicks in. So the real strategy isn't to wait for motivation, it's to create it. And you do that by moving, by doing something, anything that signals to your brain that you're serious. Too many people hesitate, they overthink, they make excuses, and all of that feeds into a pattern of inaction, which leads to more hesitation, more doubt, more paralysis. You have to break that cycle. Stop waiting to feel ready. Stop waiting for the perfect moment. Start moving and let your mind catch up. But even then, discipline is what sustains you, because there will be days when no amount of motivation will be enough. There will be days when you're tired, when you're frustrated, when the goal seems so far away that you wonder if it's even worth it. And those are the days that define you. Those are the moments where you either fall back into old patterns or push through and prove to yourself that you are stronger than your emotions, stronger than your excuses, stronger than the resistance trying to hold you back. And here's the real secret. Discipline isn't about suffering. It's not about forcing yourself through misery just for the sake of it. It's about freedom. Because when you have discipline, you're in control. You're not a slave to your impulses. You don't need to rely on external forces to push you forward. You become the kind of person who does what needs to be done no matter what. And when you reach that level, you become unstoppable. This is the mindset that separates the ordinary from the extraordinary. Not talent, not luck, not even intelligence, just the willingness to show up, to do the work, to commit to something bigger than temporary comfort. And once you master that, nothing can stand in your way. Life is unpredictable. No matter how much you plan, no matter how disciplined you are, there will always be moments that shake you, unexpected failures, losses, setbacks that hit you so hard they leave you questioning everything. And in those moments, most people break. They let their emotions take over, let fear dictate their decisions, let anger or despair pull them into a downward spiral. But if you want to achieve anything meaningful, if you want to build something real, you cannot afford to be at the mercy of your emotions. You have to master them. Now that doesn't mean suppressing them. It doesn't mean pretending you don't feel pain or anger or fear. That's not strength, that's denial, and denial will eat away at you. No, true mastery comes from understanding your emotions, from being able to feel them fully without being controlled by them. It means acknowledging that fear is there, but choosing to move forward anyway. It means feeling the weight of failure, but refusing to let it define you. It means learning to sit with discomfort instead of running from it. Think about what happens when you let your emotions dictate your actions. How many times have you made a decision in a moment of anger or fear that you later regretted? How many times have you avoided doing something difficult because the discomfort felt unbearable in the moment? Your emotions are powerful, but they are not always right. Just because something feels overwhelming doesn't mean it actually is. Just because something feels impossible doesn't mean it can't be done. If you allow every negative emotion to control you, you will stay exactly where you are, trapped, reactive, stuck in a cycle of avoidance and regret. Resilience is the ability to keep moving forward despite what you feel. And like anything, it's something you can train. Every time you face a difficult situation and choose not to let it break you, you are strengthening that resilience. Every time you refuse to give in to fear, every time you choose logic over panic, every time you stand back up after being knocked down, you are proving to yourself that you are stronger than you thought. And the more you do this, the more unshakable you become. But resilience isn't just about enduring hardship, it's about transforming it. Because suffering is inevitable, no matter who you are, no matter how much success you achieve, life will challenge you. But the question is, what do you do with that suffering? Do you let it make you bitter, weak, cynical, or do you use it as fuel? Some of the strongest, most capable people in the world are the ones who have suffered the most. Not because they were spared hardship, but because they refused to let it destroy them. They took that pain and turned it into something powerful. And that is the choice you have to make. You cannot control everything that happens to you, but you can control how you respond. You can control whether you let your emotions dictate your actions or whether you rise above them. You can control whether you let setbacks break you or whether you use them to build something even greater. That is what emotional mastery is. And once you develop it, once you truly understand that nothing outside of you has the power to control you unless you let it, you will be unstoppable. The way you see yourself determines what you become. If you can't picture success, if you can't imagine yourself achieving something greater, then your mind will never push you toward it. Your brain is wired to seek out what it believes to be possible. And if you've convinced yourself that you're stuck, that you're incapable, that success is for other people but not for you, then that's exactly the reality you will create. But the reverse is also true. If you train your mind to see a future where you are stronger, more capable, more disciplined, more successful, then you will begin to move toward it in ways that are almost automatic. This isn't some vague wishful thinking. This is the foundation of how your brain operates. The more vividly you imagine something, the more real it becomes to your subconscious mind. Athletes do this before competitions, rehearsing every movement in their minds until their bodies respond as if they've already performed at the highest level. High achievers do this with their goals, visualizing success so clearly that their actions naturally align with that vision. And if you want to operate at the highest level, you have to do the same. You have to see yourself becoming the person who is capable of achieving what you want. But here's the key. Visualization alone is not enough. You don't just sit back and expect the universe to hand you success because you pictured it. No, the purpose of visualization is to prime your mind for action, to build belief. to create the kind of mental clarity that fuels discipline. Because when you truly see that future version of yourself, when you feel it, when you step into it, when you believe in it, it becomes impossible not to take action. You begin to make different choices, push through obstacles that would have stopped you before, and build the habits that align with that. You have to commit to this process daily. See yourself in vivid detail, how you stand, how you speak, how you move through the world as the person you are becoming. Feel the discipline, the strength, the determination, and then step into it. Take the actions that bring that vision to life, because once you align your thoughts with your actions, there is no limit to what you can create. Everything you want, every goal, every ambition, every higher version of yourself is within your reach. But only if you are willing to take control of your mind. Your thoughts shape your reality. Your focus determines your results. Your resilience dictates how far you go. If you allow yourself to be ruled by old programming, by distractions, by fleeting emotions, you will remain stuck. But if you commit to reprogramming your mind for success, mastering your focus, embracing discipline, and harnessing the power of visualization, you will become This is not about talent. It's not about luck. It's about training your brain, forging unshakable habits, and choosing every single day to step into the person you were meant to be. No one is coming to save you. No one will hand you success. It is on you to rewire your mind, to command your emotions, to act with intention, and to push beyond every limitation that stands in your way. The path is clear. The tools are in your hands. The only question left is, will you use them? Because if you do, if you truly commit to this process, there is nothing in this world that can stop you.